Welcome back to Reading with Mo, and today we are going to be talking about my February TBR. Spoiler alert, my January wrap up is going to be up on Sunday, but I did not have the greatest reading month, a lot of DNFs, so I'm trying to figure out how to make my February reading month better, and I've really tried to pick a lot of books that are from my shelves. I think my problem in January was I was reading a lot of 2025 releases, or 2026 releases is what I was mainly focusing on. And I'm gonna scale back on that and read more books off my physical shelves and see if I get better results with that. I have 8 different books that I want to share with you guys, but before we get into them, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more bookish videos, content, and recommendations. First up, I'll start off with the 2 books that I really need to read because I have physical arcs of them and they are publishing this month. So the first one we have is Bad Asians by Lillian Lee. I also have a NetGalley audiobook version of this. I recently joined NetGalley back in January, and that's the reason why I was reading so many new releases because I applied for so many and got accepted for a lot of them, so I was trying not to let them just pile up. But that was a bad idea, and I'll be doing better this month. But I'm gonna listen to this one. It comes out, I think, in like a couple of weeks from now, towards the second half of February. We are following in this book a group of 4 friends, and they're all very successful, and they've just graduated from their university into the Great Recession of 2008. So now they are forced to be back at home. A documentary featuring them comes out that goes viral and really has a lasting impact, and not necessarily in the best way, on the group dynamics and friendship. The other one that comes out this month I have a physical arc of is Clutch by Emily Nemens. I forgot to mention that it was Holt that sent me this one, and then this one was sent to me by Zando, or Tin House, a Zando imprint. Similar to Bad Asians, we're also following another group of friends, and this one's a group of 5 women who have been friends for over 20 years, and they're going through biggest challenges of their lives, asking, when you're hanging on by your fingernails, how can you extend a hand to the ones you love? Hopefully I will enjoy these enough that I will complete both of them, because like I said, I've DNF'd probably at least 4 or 5 2026 releases last month. I finished 2. One of them I should have also DNF'd, so I am going into these a little bit scared, but hoping for the best. I decided to combine my classics challenge of reading 1 classic every month for this year with my nonfiction challenge, which is to try to read 2 nonfiction books a month this year. And I will be doing a deep dive, really centered all on Frederick Douglass. I've had some of these books on my shelves for a while, and I decided that this would be the perfect month to do a deep dive in. So let me show you the 4 books that I'm going to be reading. I'm thinking about maybe doing like a standalone video, like giving some of my thoughts about these books as I read them. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. I actually started the first one today, so I'm going to be reading them in a specific order. So first off, I want to read about Frederick Douglass from his own words himself. So first we have the first of his memoirs, which he has 3 of them. I'm just going to be reading 1 this month. I don't own the other 2. And that is A Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. It's very short, just under 200 pages. I'm already about 50 pages in so far. And I noticed on my Goodreads, I had already marked this as read. I'm not sure when I read it, but most likely at some point in school. I know that in a lot of schools in America, this is a very common text that we read from. But reading this book, I actually have no recollection of having read it before. I'm enjoying it as much as you can enjoy a book of this type, and it's very hard-hitting. I'm looking forward to finishing this one, and then after I finish this, which this will count as my classic book for the month, but also a nonfiction book, I will be reading this nonfiction book, Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight. This one is an autobiography all about him. So first I get to read about him from his own perspective in words, and then I get to read a more all-encompassing biography on Frederick Douglass. This book is chunky, so it's been sitting on my shelves for a while because I've been a bit intimidated with how chunky of a book this is. It's a little over 700 pages. I checked out the audiobook for this from my library as well. I think the audiobook's around 37 hours, so maybe I can do some immersive reading as I dive into this one next. After I finish that one, I'm going to pick up another nonfiction book that's been on my shelves for far too long, and that's Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. This nonfiction book falls into the history/African American studies genre. It's described as the definitive history of racist ideas in America, and I also have a an audiobook for this from my library as well, so I can hopefully immersive read this book as I'm reading it. So if you followed me along on this journey so far, we're going to read Frederick Douglass from his own words. Then I'm going to read a biography about him. And then I'm going to read through another chunky book, and this one's kind of a little bit more of a broader overview, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably come up at least in some sort of context in this book. And then last but not least, we have Frederick Douglass, a novel by Sidney Morrison. So I plan to end this reading month reading a novelization of his story. And it'll be interesting to compare all these together. I feel like this is going to give me a lot of food for thought and things to think about and learning more about history. I'm just very excited for this. I feel like it'll be fun to do a deep dive on one specific person in history to learn more about them. And I'm really excited to see how this project goes. And hopefully, if I can remember to keep up, I will have a reading vlog of some sort, sharing my thoughts more in real time instead of just sharing how I feel once I finish completing everything in my end of the month wrap up. I wanted to pull a couple other books that were more in the novel genre. So that way I'm not having so many like chunky books. I want to read some more just fiction as well. And I decided to pick up two books that I purchased recently. If you watched my book outlet haul, which is the last video I believe I have uploaded on my channel, I purchased a lot of books from there, so I chose two to read so they don't end up sitting on my shelves forever. The first one I chose is Waiting to Exhale by Terry McMillan. I haven't read any Terry McMillan books before, so this will be my first one. This is another novel about friendship, and in this book we are following the friendship between 4 different women. And then the other fiction book that I want to get to, I also have an audiobook checked out from my library, and that's The Street by Ann Petrie. This one is following our main character. It takes place in 1940s Harlem, and we're following a newly single mother whose efforts to claim a share of the American dream for herself and her young son meet frustration at every turn. And this was the first novel by an African-American woman to sell more than 1 million copies. So I've heard good things. I think about both of these. I think when I posted my book haul video, I'm pretty sure both of these books had comments from people saying that these were really good and to pick them up. So I'm listening to you guys. I do take those into consideration, and I'm really hoping that I enjoy these as well. So besides those 8 books, I'm hoping to maybe try to squeeze in a couple other books in the month, at least maybe like some audiobooks. I do have 2 books that I started last month that I'm still continuing on with. One of them was the 2026 release, Women of a Promiscuous Nature. I think I'm like a quarter of the way into that book. And then I also started Love Always Hawaii. And that one I'm only 1 chapter in because I'm trying to buddy read it, and it's not going so successfully because it's hard to find the time when you're trying to buddy read with someone at the same time. So that one hopefully will get some more priority this month. There's a couple other books that I have advanced copies of through NetGalley that I would like to try to get to. All 3 of these books are books that come out this month. So the 3 are Greedy, The Shape of Dreams, and For Human Use. These 3 are the ones that are new releases that I will try to get to this month. I should prioritize because I do have the advanced copies of them. Normally at the end of my TBR videos, I like to go over all the books that are coming out in the month that I'm interested in reading. But since I'm not really focusing too much on new releases this month, I figured I'd go ahead and save the time, and I'm just going to mention those all in my upcoming video, which should be up in the next day or 2, of all the releases that are coming out in February that I'm interested in. There's around 20 of them. There's quite a few, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm going to read a couple of them, but like I said, I'm not really prioritizing new releases this month, except for the ones I mentioned that I do have advanced copies of. I'm going to at least try to get through a few of those, but most likely February releases will be read throughout the rest of the year because I really need to see if I focus on my physical books, if I have a better overall quality in my reading month, and maybe wait until I get some more reviews of these other books and see how they're being receptive, I think is the word, before I commit to reading them. And I'm definitely going to stop requesting so many books on NetGalley because I think that is what really killed me in January. And that's it for this video. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books. Also, let me know what you guys are reading this month. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!